This is what I've been coming to realize. It has taken 40 years. I am 40 years old this year, and it has taken that many years for me to realize just how awful all the diet advice I've ever gotten is. It's truly horrifying, and I'm frankly kind of upset that I didn't learn. Hello lovely people, welcome back to the farm. I feel amazing. It is a good day to be working on Freewarden Farm, even though it was negative 13 degrees when I woke up and it's still below zero. It is a beautiful day. I am just feeling better and better every day. Every single day, feeling a little bit better. That's the goal, right? That's why we started Carnivore. It has now been 3 weeks since we officially started a strict carnivore diet. The only thing that we're taking in addition to the meat is, on a temporary basis, we are supplementing with minerals and with electrolytes. As you get into ketosis, your kidneys aren't holding on to as many electrolytes, so you need to replenish those. But that is eventually going to balance out, level out, and we can then cut the additional electrolytes and maybe minerals too. Dr. Anthony Chaffee says that while you're on this diet, you shouldn't need to be supplementing anything if you're eating just meat, fat, you know, some eggs, bacon, that kind of stuff. So we're going out to get some wood today. I've actually got quite a bit, some last night, and I got some this morning already. Just been enjoying the morning, driving back and forth, getting out here to my pasture where we're harvesting some wood that's already been cut down. We're growing wood out here. We're growing logs out in our pasture. It's been a long time they've been sitting out here. Well, a couple of years basically. We're going to grab these logs, pull them back up to the house, some of them anyway. I'm not going to be able to get them all. Some of them are frozen to the ground, but we need some firewood. In the theme of carnivore and feeling better, there's a couple of reasons why I am just now getting out here to get this wood. And one reason is partially because of time. Just didn't have time to get out here and get all the wood. And the other reason is frankly because I didn't have the energy. So I gotta come clean with y'all, because you know how it is on YouTube. People don't tell you everything. They hide their weaknesses, they hide their faults, and they hide it behind a veneer of what they're doing really well, and they don't share with you all their struggles and everything. Well, I'm going to share with you a little bit more about some of my struggles, and I only have the confidence to do this now because of the success that I have so far had with Carnivore. Okay, if I hadn't had the success that I've already had, I'd probably be a little more hesitant to share some of these things. And that's simply because, you know, it's when you're failing, when you've got problems, when you've got issues, right? It's embarrassing. You don't want to talk about them. Whether that's from pride or whatever, I don't know. But I do know this. I feel a lot more confident to talk to you about these problems now because some of them have gone away, others are going away, and I expect that additional results are going to be seen where there are no, where there hasn't been a lot of improvement yet. Getting better every single day though. How many additional things am I going to recover from that I don't even realize now that I'm struggling with. I feel better today than I have in a long time. I feel so good right now. I didn't get a lot of sleep. I ended up staying up late last night. That was my own fault. We had a pretty full day yesterday. I had really good energy yesterday too. And so anyway, I was up till probably 2 a.m. Woke up this morning at about 6:30. And even though I only got 4.5, 5 hours of sleep, I feel great so far this morning. Just tons of energy. I woke up with zero brain fog. I didn't have to lie there in bed for an hour trying to clear my head so that I could even think, so that I could even process thoughts of what I needed to do today. I woke up with a clear head. I woke up with motivation. This is something that I do not normally, or have not historically, had in the past. Sorry. I'm trying to run a tractor and talk to you about a very important subject at the same time here. So, I feel just amazing, wonderful, in ways that I haven't felt and didn't even know if I would feel ever again. I've been fairly silent about my health issues. It's just not something that I've talked about a lot. It's not something that I want to talk about a lot. I don't like complaining about how I feel. That's not me. I have been struggling with fatigue. I've been struggling with extremely low energy. I will work and then I'll have to sit down and take a break, take a breather. I've just been struggling with how much energy I have, and it's been that way for years. So I've always struggled with getting enough sleep or feeling rested. I've struggled with having energy. Even in basic training, I would just feel rotten when I woke up. Even when I was a healthy, quote unquote healthy 185 pounds, solid muscle, and top of the class in physical training. So we started this carnivore diet on January 1st, the entire family. We actually got some people kind of concerned and saying they didn't know if we should do this with the kids and all that, and it was going to cause problems. Health concerns were shared, and I think that they probably didn't really pay attention to everything that we were saying about carnivore, because they were saying, you need to know this information, and actually I had looked up all that information. I had looked up a lot of the concerns, both with adults and children, on carnivore, because the kind of person that I am, I'm not going to just jump into something. I rarely jump into something without doing some research. Now, there's been a time or two I haven't done enough research, but this has kind of been a plan. It's been in the cards for us. We've been shuffling the cards a long, long time, but we finally bit the bullet and said, enough's enough. We're doing what we've been planning on doing now. We're not going to delay any longer. It's time to make a change for our health, for the health of our entire family. And we made that change. So here we are, having done close to 5 years of research and foundation laying. Not saying that anybody else should do this. You shouldn't jump into carnivore, but you also shouldn't wait 5 years to do it. If it's something that you want to do, you can just start it. In the case where you may have a very serious illness, something that is imminently life and death, then yeah, maybe you need to see a doctor. And don't take what I'm saying as advice. This isn't advice, this is just my personal opinion on the matter. This is what I would do if this were the case. I'd probably contact a health professional somebody who knew more about this than what I've had time to do my own research on. Somebody who could help walk me through the best and optimal way to get started so that I didn't screw something up and kill myself in the process. If you are imminently at risk of heart attack, stroke, if you have cancer, if it's something like that, then, do your own research, of course. Don't take anything that I'm saying as fact, but do your own research, and maybe you do want to see a doctor. I probably would. But in my case, I didn't feel that I was imminently at risk of dying or keeling over if I started this and I made a little oopsie. There's two different types of people. People that are going to need to do a lot more research before they jump into something, whether that's because they have issues when they don't research things, they have commitment issues. They're not going to just pull themselves up by their bootstraps and muscle through the very challenging transition period, not to mention all the withdrawals, or all the carbohydrate withdrawals. Depends on how addicted you are to sugar and carbohydrates and all of that. Mine were not terrible. I did have a rough time transitioning. That's because my body is so out of whack. That's because of the metabolic issues that I'm having, that I have had. I'm the kind of person that just does too much research. I struggle with that, but I like to know a lot about what I'm doing before I do it. It's been that way with just about everything here on the farm. It's been that way my entire life. I want to know everything. I'm the kind of person that in an interview, in a job interview, or when I'm asking an expert to give their opinion on a subject, one of my questions, and I think it annoys people, is what's the most important question that I haven't asked? What is the most important question about this subject that I'm not asking you? What kind of information would you like me to know that I've not asked you to tell me? That's a really good question to ask people, because that's where you might just get the real meat on the subject. The stuff that you didn't even know that you didn't know. Now, one of the reasons that I have not been getting out here to get this wood done is because of a lack of energy. It's been this way now for probably a couple of years, where I'll make the plans of everything I want to do, and then I get through half the list and I don't get the other stuff done. Some of that is because I overestimate how much can actually get done in a day, and I make a great big old list and I want to try to get it all done. Some of it is because my days depend on the energy and not the hours in the day. So since beginning Carnivore, I did have this period where energy dropped off, but I've come back better than I have been in years already. I'm sure a lot of it has to do with eliminating any and all processed foods, period. I'm sure some of it has to do with getting rid of plants, because if you look at the research, if you look at the botany arm of science, you'll see just how many toxins, carcinogens, lectins, oxalates, all of these different things that harm our bodies, just how many of them are in plants. And yes, the healthy ones, raw or cooked, they all have them. Cooking can sometimes help reduce them, but they still have a ton of really bad stuff in them. The plants that we're eating today are not the plants from 10,000 years ago. The plants we're eating today are not processed the same way we would have processed plants 10,000 years ago. So what we have to realize is that we have changed the plants that we are now eating today from what they were originally. Based on anthropology, you can dig up these bones and you can test them and find that they have stable isotopes, which means that they were eating meat and fat. Stable isotopes tells you that their diet was based on 90+% meat and fat. So since I've been eating a proper human diet, I feel so much more energy, so much more vitality, so much more joy and excitement and motivation, so much more drive. I feel so much better eating beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, primarily what we eat, than I have felt in a long time. And I have tried so many different things. I actually tried something that was extremely harmful that was recommended by this whole, kind of life wellness expert, quote unquote expert. He was a guru, body, business, spirituality. He was basically saying, here's the way that you should live your life in general. This is how you become successful in all aspects of life. Fine. If that works for him, great, but he was recommending this really awful thing as part of the body aspect of his training. He was recommending a spinach smoothie. This smoothie was so full of spinach that has all sorts of oxalates, carcinogens, and lectins in it that is ripping your gut to shreds, that is overloading your system, that is poisoning your cells. Spinach is horrible for you. Raw or cooked, the stuff is awful. And I was eating it raw in a smoothie day after day, week after week, and I was telling myself it was making me feel better. But it's so full of sugars, it's so full of carbohydrates, which turn into sugars. It's so full of all of these poisons, all of these toxins, that my body was reacting really, really badly to it. My skin was breaking out. It was awful. It was not working for me. People who are drinking these smoothies have joined a cult, and they have to tell themselves that they're feeling better on it, even though they know they're not, because somebody else said you're going to feel really good on it. Do this if you want to do life right. Those smoothies are like, there's people that have put themselves in the hospital drinking these smoothies because they'll drink like a giant pitcher of these every single day. I tried to drink as much as I could. I was never able to every day drink the entire thing. But I was telling myself, I even bought this fancy blender just so that I could make these smoothies easily every single day, and I was religious about it. And I felt horrible. Horrible. It was supposed to be this super simple thing. It was basically fruit, water, maybe some honey, and the spinach. Blend it up, pour it in a cup, drink it down. Awful. Not about it, the taste didn't bother me. I did fine with the taste. The problem was just how toxic this drink actually was, both in terms of carbs as well as oxalates, lectins, and carcinogens. And I was doing this based on the advice of somebody that I had happened upon on the internet, who I'm sure intended well, but was also selling me something. This advice that I got was some of the worst stuff I've ever done to my body. How could spinach be bad for you? They're not going to tell you that on the nutrition label. They're not going to tell you about all the chemicals that are not just sprayed on the food, but actually exist in the plant, produced by the plant. You've got to look this stuff up. You got to do your own research. I'm telling you what, it is shocking, the stuff that I've been learning about plants and how bad they actually are for us. We have been lied to, and we have been told that we're vegetarians or that we can be vegan. We've been lied to and told that we're omnivores. So maybe we're sort of kind of omnivores, but we really thrive. Where we really thrive is when we eat meat. This is what I've been coming to realize. It has taken 40 years. I am 40 years old this year. And it has taken that many years for me to realize just how awful all the diet advice I've ever gotten is. It's truly horrifying. And I'm frankly kind of upset that I didn't learn proper nutrition a lot sooner, a lot earlier. But we're now putting into practice what we know, what we've been learning, and we've been learning a lot more recently. And every single thing that I've been, that when you start hearing about the science of a truly appropriate or proper diet for humans, the science is shocking. But you listen to it and you're like, this actually makes sense compared to all the other mumbo jumbo out there about plants, about all of these, these things and how they're supposed to be good for us, how they have so much nutrition, when in fact, very, very little of that nutrition is actually bioavailable for us. Whereas in meat, all the nutrition is available to us. We can easily break it down and absorb it when our body is tuned properly, which basically just takes eating the diet. When our body is tuned properly, you're going to feel so much more satisfied. You're going to feel so much more full. Your body is going to thank you. It's going to love you for giving it true, wholesome, substantive nutrition.